People are explicitly feeding coyotes, or it would seem, where we're seeing raw meat being placed in our public parks.
There have been more than 370 reports of coyote sightings in the city of Mississauga over the last 4 months. Many believed to be repeat sightings of the same coyotes in the same areas. Jay Smith, manager of animal services for the city, says for over a century we've coexisted well with the animals, but now he's imploring residents to stop feeding them.
We're seeing, full platefuls of food being left out in the parks. We're seeing piles of seed left out in some of the public spaces.
Smith says he's concerned about more sightings in areas commonly used by people. He's also warning that deliberately or even inadvertently feeding small animals still brings in the coyotes who see these animals as prey.
Well, that could be windfall from fruit trees. That could be vegetable gardens that aren't protected. That could be, pet feces that hasn't been picked up. Could be compost containers which aren't properly closed, or garbage containers that aren't properly closed.
Do we want them to get used to us, or do we want them to stay afraid of us?
Absolutely. We want to take advantage of the natural fear that coyotes do actually have of humans. They are not attracted to humans. They're attracted to the food that they're being provided by humans.
When we see the food being left out deliberately, does it tend to be cases of folks who are they're kind of under a rock, they don't really know they're not supposed to, they want to be next to the animals, they think they're doing something nice? Or do you find it's a case where they're sneaking behind the bylaw officers and they know they're not supposed to, but they're doing it anyway? Have you got a sense on what's happening?
We're seeing both, actually, David. So we're seeing folks where are deliberately feeding wildlife, and it could be under one of our park signs, which is explicit and says, do not feed the wildlife and coyotes in the area. And we're still seeing staff. And other folks who, quite frankly, they don't see a problem with feeding wildlife. They believe they're helping the wildlife. It's not helping any of our wildlife, and certainly not our coyotes.
And a heads up, spring and early spring are generally breeding season for coyotes, meaning you're more likely to see them out and about. And something else to note, the city of Mississauga did recently raise the associated fine from $100 to a minimum of $300. For City News, I'm David Zura.